Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Album Homework Assignments. Our two combatants today, George Lamie and Rand Kelly. Welcome to the show, guys. How are you? It's King Crimson Day. More importantly, it's Lark's Tongues and
Lark's
Aspic.
Tongues and Aspic.
That's right. And it's just
well, I got the shirt at the concert, so that's
there
why.
You go. It's actually funny you're wearing that for this because King Crimson just made their way through the New York area just a couple days ago. They played up in what is it called? Saratoga, New York, upstate New York, up near our state capital. So yeah, it's a King Crimson. Thankfully King Crimson is touring right now before hopefully we don't have another shutdown as far as live stuff goes, but Crimson's been out playing, and from everything I've heard, they've been great. But we're not here to talk about King Crimson today. We are here to talk about the two assignments that these two gentlemen have given each other. So they both have had their assignments for a week and a half, and they're prepared to talk about them. So we're going to have George go first with his assignment that was given to him by Rand. So what were you given by Rand?
I was given a band I hadn't heard of even, Fire Ballet. The second of their two albums, which is called 2-2, TWO, TOO. The first impressions were not good. The first impressions was the album cover. It's all five dudes on the front wearing tutus. Doesn't make a statement. Not a good one anyway. But of course, who cares? It's cover art,
Yeah.
So dig in, find out they're a band from New Jersey.
Yep.
5 regular members, and then some other guests augmenting the sound, woodwinds and stuff like that. It's prog rock. With symphonic prog elements, I would say, and maybe a touch of people talk how much the commercial element is in there. I'm not sure about that. It's in there, but not to the extent people are talking about. But yeah, the commercial edge, I guess. Quite a bit of multi-vocal parts. That's their approach vocally, maybe to the point of distraction sometimes. I mean, seems like they thought that was their hook, and they kind of hammer it in a lot of parts, just very unisons, and they do quite a lot of that, and some of it's in a fairly theatrical vein. So that was it's a little odd, it threw me for a minute, but start listening to it and it starts to get into me. It's musically it's like Star Castle, yes, maybe a little 10cc, like a touch of almost like Disney soundtracks. There's like I don't know, like what you'd say, like a happy feeling to a lot of it. So I dig in. The lead track is called Great Expectations. It's not the meatiest of riffs. I mean, it's built mostly on the vocal part, and the vocal part in this song is really good. Like, I started thinking the song was a little bit insubstantial, but then away from keyboard, I got that melody going through my head, the chorus melody. It's a really good chorus melody. Like hours later, it would be in my head. It's only it's 4.5 minute track, but it feels even faster because it's a very catchy track that really gets into you after a while. The second track is Chinatown Boulevards. That's probably my favorite tune on the album. It's maybe coincidence, maybe not, but it's the one with the least vocals. It goes like the first 2 minutes, there's no vocals. They're building up on all these riffs. Then comes a verse. It's like more of their unison stuff, but it's a short verse. It's not like a minute. Then they go back into an instrumental interlude, and there's some good jam in here. The drummer, I think, could be better. I'm hearing him in this part, and I'm wishing for a better guy. But everybody else, I mean, it's killer string work. Really appreciate the string work on this track. There's also vibraphone. I love vibraphone. Vibraphone player on this track too, playing a lot of the stuff. It's really cool. Third track is It's About Time. There is a noticeable The Yes album vibe on this one. The bass and the guitar, those guys have taken their lessons from the Yes model. I mean, the tones even are really close. Um, some harmony vocals here again. It seems pretty unnecessary, but again, that seems to be their thing. That they thought maybe would make them stand out, or maybe they weren't confident of their vocals on their own. I don't know. But again, this one's got quite a bit of instrumental work, so that's good. There at the end, there's an homage to what I believe is a Beethoven piece. I know it's a famous classical piece, but I haven't been hammering the Beethoven's Ninth. Yeah, I haven't been listening to a lot of classical for many years now. I used to back in the neoclassical days, but it's been a while.
With you, I'd be like, yeah, it's a classical piece. Couldn't tell you what it is though.
Yeah, it's good tune though. Fourth track is called Desiree. This one is a fairly straightforward song. It's not doesn't really make an impression musically, you would think, but the riff and the melodies, it's a real solid. Like it sneaks up on you. The first time through the album, I'm like kind of a song, but it builds up and that becomes a song that you're looking forward to. Then you got Flash, it's track 5. That's got like a couple of softy intro verses before it goes into a proggy interlude, which again, these guys I think should have focused on that, but I don't know where their heads was at as far as what they were chasing musically. But I thought they should have leaned into their musicality more. But who knows what they were thinking. I read that the first album was more that than this one is. I'll have to check it out, but I purposely stayed away from that until after I was immersing myself in this. And there's a lush ending vocal. Yeah, that's a cover. A lush ending vocal on this song that sounds good. The vocals, they sound good. It's just the approach gets to be a little overbearing sometimes, but there's no problem with the vocal quality. The guys, it sounds good. 6th track is probably the other really good track on here, Carillon. That's more Yes worship. I mean, the guitar solo is just like quoting practically, and the tone again is like right on. I mean, and they get the bass tone too. The bass line, he's doing some Squire-esque stuff. I mean, they definitely have taken their cues. The Munchkin vocals from the first song are back for a brief period there, and that's let's just say I'm glad I have experience with Mr. Bungle, so I'm used to quirky vocals because it could put some people off. If you're, oh, that's weird, you might have a problem with some of these vocals. Me, I get used to it. Yeah, this one is intense musically. So overall, I would say this track is a big win. It's very symphonic, this one. A lot of string work on this one. The last track, the closer, it's a string-led tune. Kind of a little bit of a throwaway, it seems like. It's just strings and some choral vocals. It's nice, it's an easy way out the door kind of a thing. But really, it's not an essential track on this album to me. I would prefer maybe another vocal tune, but there you have it. I would say I liked it. Absolutely.
Cool. So would you buy it, stream it occasionally, or forget it?
Well, I do not stream, so for this exercise, I did download it, and right now I'm going to stick with files, but I do not rule out buying this eventually because the more I'm still getting used to it, and the more I listen to it, the more I'm leaning that way. And I'm definitely going to check out the first album. So,
first album is pretty damn good.
Yeah, good stuff. I would say everyone should go check it out at the very least. Just be prepared.
Yeah, Fire Ballet were another one of those good, underrated, unknown bands that kind of came out in that time period that just kind of got lost in the shuffle with all the, the Mirth Randers, the Cathedrals, the Yezda Urfas. I mean, all these other bands. There's so many of them, and they all and Rand. You mentioned George. You mentioned his bass tone very similar to Squire's. Rand, do you know if he was using a Rickenbacker? Because he was. Okay, that a lot of times that's like guys just they love that Squire sound, so it's like, let's go play a Rickenbacker. And
that's funny. I said I never heard of them, but I'm listening to the Asbury Park Black Sabbath bootleg, famous from '75, And there's a picture of a ticket stub from that day, and Fire Ballet opened.
And they opened. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking, I'm like, oh. I did kind of hear of them.
Yeah, well, I mean, they from what I have read, they've toured around the area here on the East Coast quite a bit back in the day. So they got on a lot of those tours. We know a lot the bigger bands, but unfortunately, they just never made it big. There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
See it? It's a fire glow, they call it, red Rickenbacker. I don't know if you can see it. He's kind of holding it right there.
Those tutus are ridiculous, though.
Oh, this killed their
Oh,
career.
that's awful.
But can I just tell you, if you do want to get this on CD, it looks like this now.
Much better.
Much better.
What they did was, I don't know if you noticed, but they took the center part of the first album, and made a cover out of it.
There you go. Yeah.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
I think they got the message, like everybody was saying, man, that cover sucks, man.
I can't imagine
But
someone thought it was a good idea.
Watch this. You take the disc out and you get they hit it.
Just in case
This
you
is it.
missed it.
This is in the closet. What's with these bands?
I don't know.
Have you ever seen the first Brainstorm album? I don't know, man, but I've seen pictures of it. It's kind of like We're Only in It for the Money by Frank Zappa and the Mothers. Why?
Yeah, there's some bad ones. It's like that Grand Funk Railroad album where they're all with their faces superimposed with these bodybuilders, and it's just like, oh god.
I got it.
Oh yeah.
Got it on LP.
Yeah.
I put off buying that for so long, and I went, oh come on,
It's a good album, but man, that album
Just buy
cover.
the damn thing.
Ooh. Yeah. I
Or
will
the
say,
doc-
I love the first Fire Ballet, and I have that. I'm almost positive I do not have the second one, this one that we're talking about here today. And I'm very intrigued now because I like the first one quite a bit.
I think you like it.
like he said, Carillon is the best song on there. They literally rip off that thing in Yours Is No Disgrace where the keyboard goes da 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 da. They play it exactly the same, but they change the pitches. The rhythms are, I mean, the actual where the note hits is identical, but it's different notes. It's like, I see what you're doing there.
I make it just a little bit different. Yeah.
We love the Yes album so much. Listen to this. But that song's insane. I mean, it's so good. If they would have put out more songs like that, I think it would have been fun.
And what year did that album come out, guys?
That was 76.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
That
you
was
know what
the
it is too.
transition year where things started to go.
Yeah, they're kind of on the tail end of that, right? So you know what? You go back, if they would have released that probably 2-3 years before, maybe a different story here. Because 76 already, punk is coming out, and yeah, it's unfortunate. There's a ton of bands. God, we could do an entire show on bands who just, prog bands from the 70s who just were just a little too late, right? Because by 76, 77, people are already moving in different directions. Even the big bands are starting to do different things a little bit. So yeah, it's
That's what happened to Happy the Man. I mean, they started in 77 and the
Absolutely.
whole genre was dying right then.
yeah, Star Castle too. I mean, yeah, it's
England.
yeah, yep,
Oh, you remember they were talking about Arista bands before?
yep.
Nova Vimana is on Arista. Gong, Pierre Marlin's Gong is on Arista. I got a bunch of those.
Yeah. Yep. All right, Rand. So what were you giving?
Yeah.
What
Let
were
me
you
get a
giving as
drink.
an assignment?
Get some root beer here.
There you go.
Well, first thing I want to say is thank you, George, because this was a real trip. Thank you, scientists. Stranger heads prevail. There's the
Wow.
prop. Thank you, George. Okay, it came out in 2016. It's got 11 tracks. The album is 1 hour and 7 minutes and 59 seconds long. This band is insane. They're certifiable. 7 guys, no keyboard player. There's a little bit of piano on the very first song called Prologue, A Faint Applause. But I've been watching videos of them for 3 days and there's no keyboard player in this band. So I don't know who's playing piano. But another thing too is really hard to find this album. Vaudeville style in the first song. It's real strange, 30s, 40s crooner type stuff. You'd expect Frank Sinatra or somebody to sing. And this singer, oh boy, do I got a lot to say about this singer. The next song is The Somnambulist. Man, this thing hits you like an atomic steamroller. These guys are good. I mean, they're talented. Have you heard them, Pete?
I have heard the name forever. I don't think I haven't heard that album. I might have heard one.
You just cream yourself. Listen to these guys. They're so good. So yeah. And I'm not gonna swear or anything, but God, these guys are effing talented. I mean, really, there's nothing they can't do. They've got to the point where they can play every note at any speed. Just think about that. It's just, there's no limitations with these guys. I mean, I just thought, why do I even bother? I've been playing guitar since 1965 and I don't even know what he's doing. This guitar player, his name is Tom Monda. He's unbelievable. Why he's not getting mentioned as one of the best guitarists in the world is beyond me. This guy's so good. Okay, the Somnambulist, that means sleepwalker.
Yep.
This song is crazy. It just comes out. It's like Tarkus on steroids. It's just crazy. And I don't know how to describe it much more, but because so many notes, I have a pretty good ear and they're going so fast. I just said, screw this. I'm just going to enjoy it, you know?
So Rand, you said they have 7 members, but no keyboards. So what do we got? Like multiple guitar players? You got horns?
No, I'll tell you exactly what you got. You got a drummer, you got a violinist, you got a bass player, and you've got a guitar player who runs the band. He's the leader, Tom Monda. You've got a saxophone player and a trumpet player and a singer. So it's a 6-piece instrument band with a vocalist that doesn't play anything but his vocals.
Gotcha.
And my God, they're good. And there's some things that sound like keyboards or a synthesizer. It's actually a theremin. I watched the bass player do it on one of their concerts. And that part that comes by in that song, I think it's Caverns. And he goes like, woo, like that with his hand right next to the theremin. It's right in front of him. So he has no problem doing it because he's got it reversed where it doesn't make any sound until he gets close to it and then he backs it off. Usually they're the other way around. Otherwise they'd be going all the time. But God, the talent. I really respect talent, you know, precision. Robert Fripp would love these guys, probably a huge fan. Okay, so the next song is Caverns. It's just, since I mentioned it, it's nuts. It's just so many things. Oh, there's a lot of tapping. In the beginning, the guitar player is like, and the bass player, the whole song starts out with a bunch of tapping. It's kind of like Return of the Giant Hogweed, you know, without keyboards. So fast. I mean, you know, kind of like what Eddie would do on Mean Streets and stuff like that in the beginning.
Yep.
But that's just like octaves. These guys are doing different Halder type tapping. Crazy. Song called Mr. Invisible. I think it's one of my favorites. I really like that tune. It's just very accessible. And then there's another one called A Wolf in Cheap Clothing. They have some funny titles. I love puns, you know. And that's a really atmospheric song. It doesn't start out like the other two did. It kind of leads you in, sort of lulls you into a dream state or something, and then they just knock you on the head with massive prog metal. I mean, these guys, wait till I tell you who I think that they sound like. I picked 1, 2, 3, 4 bands that I thought would go in a blender, but I'm not going to get there yet. And then Blue Automatic, which they actually released as a single. I don't know where they'll play it. No radio that I know would play it. Maybe an independent college station. But you guys, these guys are from the same area as Fire Ballet, New Jersey.
Oh, they're a Jersey band.
Yeah. And then I like Blue Automatic. Then Need More Input. The first thing that stood out to me in Need More Input was it starts out really cool and kind of laid back and almost commercial, and then here comes the buildup, stuff like that. And this guy plays fretless Vigier guitar, just like Guthrie Govan. Oh my God, this dude's good. And Bumblefoot too. I think he blows both of those guys away. I think Tom Monda is actually better at fretless guitar. I want to buy one, but he's so good at it, and he can do the tapping. I've never seen anybody do the double tapping.
He used to
on a
take
fretless.
lessons from Bumblefoot.
Oh, there you go.
And Bumblefoot did production on their first album.
And Steve Vai took lessons from Joe Satriani, and look at that.
Yeah, right.
I can't even dream that stuff, much less try to play it. I'm a blues player. Then after that, really like Need More Input. That's one of my favorites. And then after that is something called Rube Goldberg Variations. First thing I noticed was it sounds like a samba. There's parts 5 minutes into this song. It's a long song. 5 minutes into this song, they sound like Sergio Mendes in Brazil 66. There's nothing this band can't do. I swear to God. They had to have been, I forgot to write one of my influences down, but I'll remember when I get there. Anyways, yeah, that's phenomenal. There's a violin solo in there during this section. He sounds like Stefan Grappelli. You know who that is?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
My God, you swear to God it was him. This violin player in this band, Anthony, he blows Eddie away. Drink.
We can't even get one show without mentioning his name, right? I'm telling you, no matter what the topic is.
I love Eddie, and I love Anthony. I love everybody, you know. But anyway, and then there's this really cool tune called Psycho Pomp, which isn't really pomp. It's definitely psycho. Everything these guys do is psycho. I swear to God. You know, I've heard the Mr. Bungle stuff. You don't even want me to get started on that band, but these guys are in a different league. I'm sorry, even though they're from my hometown. Anyways, the Amateur Arsonist Handbook. I think that's the other one where he plays the fretless guitar solo. I kept wondering when I was listening to it, driving around and stuff, why there was this sound like the note was dropping like a whammy, but then he could go back up, and he kept going up. And I'm going, whammies don't do that. You have to have like a slide to do that. And then I saw the video, and he's got a fretless guitar with one of those aluminum necks, you know. They're awesome. And then it ends with epilogue and the clever part, which is a lot like the first part. But before that happens, right at the very end of the Amateur Arsonist Handbook, you get some guy talking like he's from the 50s, explaining something to students. I'm not really sure what he's trying to tell us. Maybe you know, George.
No.
You know what I'm talking about. And
Yeah.
then you can hear in the background a scratched record, like it's an old record. It's going while he's talking. And I go, what are these guys thinking? They're geniuses. Anyways, epilogue and the clever part, it sort of just mellows you back out, like the beginning. Starts out like this, goes like this, goes back down like that, or actually like this, and then just drops off. But this is their second album, and I heard their first one, but I didn't listen to their third. I ordered their third today on vinyl because it's a fantastic multicolored vinyls. They got one red, one blue, and it's swirly and beautiful, and there's a lot of artwork inside and everything. And so since I'm getting into albums again, I thought I'd buy that. Can't find this album at a good price anywhere. Amazon isn't even carrying it.
I messaged you yesterday. I found a site that has both of the first two for $10.
Yeah. Well, I went to, oh, tell me about that later.
Merch Now it's called.
Text me. I went to their record company, Evil Inc., and they only had it available for $10 as a download. And I already got it on Amazon, so I don't, you know. But anyway, so the my assessment, love this. I'm going to be doing, I'll answer that later. Okay, 4, Mr. Invisible, A Wolf in Sheep Clothing, Need More Input, and Rube Goldberg variations are my favorites. And I love the fretless guitar because it's very rare to hear a good solo on those things. Salvatore Morano is the singer. His voice is one of a kind. Never heard anyone sing like this. I kept trying to think to myself, who does he sound like? I couldn't come up with that. The high notes are in the yes range, but he sings them effortless. And they're real thin. He's got a really thin voice. I can't, I'm a pretty good mimic. I can do almost anybody's voice. This guy I can't do this guy's voice.
So,
Okay,
Brandon, what do you mean by really thin?
Well, you know how Mike Patton can do that certain tone, like that. It's like that all the time.
Okay.
He does that. There's no like boisterous John Wetton baritone or tenor. He doesn't do that style at all, ever. But the dude, just looking at him, you wouldn't think he would sing like that because when he talks really low. But his vocals are always up there in that, on the E string of a guitar. Can you imagine nothing below the E string? That's pretty much where he's mostly singing.
Wow.
He's got an incredible voice. He can go up to like high D and no effort at all. But thin. It just sounds thin. I don't know how to describe it. Very nasally maybe or whatever. But it's he's got incredible control, incredible ear, and he's literally one of the best singers I've ever heard of. I really like him. So I love the band. I'm gonna get everything they freaking do eventually. There goes your question, so.
Sounds like we got to buy it there. All right.
Yeah, I just set it up. But anyways, here's who I think they got their influences from. Dream Theater, Chicago, Vandergraaf Generator, King Crimson, Gentle Giant. In a blender. Pour as you will. You have 6 glasses there. Each glass would have a different sound.
Yeah, because based on how you were describing it, and again, this is me. Like I said, I might have heard their first album because I've heard the name forever. But based on your description, I was thinking, okay, this sounds like kind of real crazy technical prog metal, but with lots of jazz influence, right? And that's me not knowing jack shit about this band, right? So does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, except the way they put the technical parts in, you don't feel like you're getting beat over the head with it. It's more, if you know what you're listening for, you realize how hard that is. But they do have a alternative metal edge too, like a commercial bass, like regular punters probably could get into it also.
And from what I've been reading, that the third album is even more, I don't know if it's more mature or more dialed back, but apparently the second album and the first album, they just went berserk. And I guess Terraformer is the third album, and it's a little bit less berserk. But I don't have a problem with being berserk. So
I'm intrigued though, because you said the guitar player is better than Guthrie or Bumblefoot. And those two guys are pretty damn amazing. So, yeah.
Well, I could be wrong, but that's my assessment of listening to what little I've heard of him. I've only seen him do one solo on the fretless guitar on that video that I watched, and I've heard 2 on this record. And all I can tell you is the guy is melodic, and he's playing 64th notes like they're nobody's business. So good.
Very cool.
But I saw Bumblefoot with Asia too, so yeah.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
He's really
With Asia, he doesn't do a ton of stuff, but I mean, if you go see him with Sons of Apollo, that's when you really get like all Bumblefoot.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any of theirs. I should download those guys.
Yeah, those 2 albums are really good. But that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
So we got Thank You Scientist, and we've got Fire Ballet, And it sounds like in both cases, we got some thumbs up, we got some purchases, and an exploration of the rest of the catalog. So, and Rand, I forget, Fire Ballet, just the 2 albums, or they have a third one? I don't remember.
Just the 2,
Just the 2.
and the guitar. I should say the guitar, Rich Chandler, the guitarist, Rich Chandler, is the guitar player for Nectar,
Nectar, yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay, yeah, I remember that.
and that's a great album. That last one that came.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. He was a good choice, and you know, I mean, we all miss Roy, but the band is carrying on and doing it quite well. So, yeah, cool. Well, there you have it, everybody. We got 2 thumbs up. We got 2 purchases here on our next album homework assignment show here, and I want to thank both George and Rand for doing their homework, because that's what it's all about, right? So tune in next time. I'm not quite sure exactly which one is going to be next. It's either going to be Stephen Reed going up against Simon Bray, or Sydney Taylor going up against Bryce from Bryce Talks Metal. Those are the 2 we got lined up for next. I'm not sure which one is going first. I should know relatively soon. So because we're waiting for Simon to get back from vacation in like Cyprus, I think, or something like that. So yeah, so it'll be one of those 2 coming up in a week. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, go check out both of these cool albums that both these guys were talking about here, because I need to go and look and see if I have that second Fire Ballet. I kind of don't think I do, and I'm going to investigate Thank You Scientists, because I've been hearing about them for a long time. I think the time has come for me to dive in. So thanks for watching, everybody. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course, we're here on YouTube
all the damn time.
There you go. Absolutely. So for Rand Kelly and George Lamie, I am Pete Pardo. Stay tuned tomorrow night for the Hudson Valley Squares and everything else coming up all week long. So take care, everybody. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you.
Bye.